Okay, this is our list of tools. This is going to be the kit that you got in the mail. We have a regular flathead screwdriver, a regular Phillips. We just have a couple of regular Phillips, and then you're going to need a small Phillips as well, along with a bit, a small Phillips bit for your drill. That's going to be the list of tools we are going to need for this change. Okay, so first, make sure your unit is unplugged. You don't ever want to work on your unit, obviously, while it's plugged into an outlet, so make sure that's unplugged. And then we also have all of our pieces that we described earlier in here at the bed, and we're first going to start by removing the positive and negative from the amp output. And we're going to remove the positive and the negative on the other side that go to the transducer. And we are also going to remove the positive and negative on the output of the Thompson. Okay, once we've done that, we're going to take that positive wire. We're going to remove it fully. Then we're going to follow the wire that went to the transducer all the way to this 2-clip wire. We're going to clip those down, remove that wire, and then just simply pull it back through the sheaths. Okay, once you have those wires removed, we're going to move on to the screws that hold down the amp. You're going to be using your drill bit for this. And once you have that out, the amp can be removed. And once that's removed, we're going to move on to the next step. Okay, now we have our new amp in place. You're going to just place your amp here in the spot that the other amp was in. We're going to make sure that the wires are facing towards the rest of the equipment. And once we have those in place, we're going to take the purple wire that we removed from the Thompson earlier on, and we are going to connect that to the negative port just between the other 2 wires placed on your kit amp. Okay, and once we have that placed in, we're going to secure the amp to the board. Okay, now that we have that secured to the board, we're going to move on to the next wire. We're going to loosen up the port on the positive side of one of your power supplies, and the positive wire that comes from your kit is going to be placed into that slot. Tighten that down as good as you can, fairly tightly. I'm going to give it a tug, make sure that doesn't go anywhere. Now we're going to take and loosen the negative port on the negative side of that power supply. And we're going to place the remaining purple wire into that slot. Tightening down again, make sure it's firmly in place. Gonna give it a little tug, make sure it's not going anywhere. Okay, now that we have all those wires connected, we're going to move on to the only remaining wires. Okay, this wire goes to the transducer. I'm going to loosen that, remove that, put that to the side. And then we're going to take that wire and we are going to run it back up the sheath that we removed it from earlier. All right, now there's a positive and negative side located on the cable. We locate those positive and negative sides and then install them into the correct ports on your 2-wire connector. And just simply clip those down. Okay, now that you have all that set, make sure your wires are all in place. That wire runs down, goes back into your ports. All of your ports are plugged in tightly. Make sure nothing is loose and everything is connected. And we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so if that did not fix your issue, then this will be your next step. We are just going to change out the transducer. So that wire that you replaced earlier, we are going to go to the other side, unclip the positive and negative, remove those. Just like earlier, we're going to remove those from the sheaths. Those go to your transducer. You're going to use your Phillips and remove the 2 screws in the back of the transducer, as well as the 2 screws in front here that you can see. And make sure you support the transducer on your way out because it will fall. And once you have that final screw out, it will just come down loose on its own. There's nothing attaching it once that's removed. Okay, now that you have that full piece removed, we're just going to take that, put that to the side, and we're going to move on to the next step to replace that. Okay, so this is how your transducer should have come in the box in the bubble wrap, but we already have one open, so we're going to use that one to show you the replacement. All right, so now that you have your new transducer, we're going to use the same screws from earlier that you removed, and we are going to use those to place it right back in the spot that you removed it from. Okay, then once you have all your 4 screws in place, we're just going to follow the wire connected to, holding the positive and negative, run those back through the sheaths that you removed them from. And using the positive negative, we're going to make sure that we are connecting as well to the other positive and negative. And once those are in place, you just simply click them down, and that is how you replace your transducer.